So this will be the nerdiest thing I do, and I hope you hang in there. It gets pretty nerdy. But I was trying to logically figure out how to have a happy marriage. So I went back to when I designed computers. It's called a logic map. And when you design a computer, the way it thinks is using AND gates and OR gates. It's called Boolean logic. And like there's an AND gate, which says there's two inputs, A and B, and when both inputs are true, the output's true. A and B both have to be true. So if either input's false, the output is false, right? Then there's an OR gate. It says if A or B is true, the output's true, right? So if either one's true, the output's true. And only when they're both false is the output false. How does this get funny? Please get to it quickly. I figured out the happiness logic map. Okay, here we go. There's two inputs, me and my wife Laura. Don and Laura. We'll start with the most easy case. Don is wrong and Laura is right. Ladies are saying it. Laura's right. I have no problem there. She's right, it's right. This is where it gets complicated. All right? If we're both right, Laura's right. And again, I have no problem with that because she's right. So, okay, I'll give it to her. That's fine. Here's where it really gets messy. If I'm right and she's wrong, doesn't happen often, now and then, doesn't matter. I would rather be happy than right, so Laura's right. And then the hardest one, if we're both wrong, Don is wrong. If you're single, get out your phone, take a picture of this right now. This took me 20 years to figure out. I'm sharing it with you now. Now, a lot of times when I got in trouble, when I made my wife upset, is because I was trying to help. I was watching her vacuum one day, and clearly she did not have a plan. She went that way and that way. She went over the same spot like 7 times. And as I sat there on the couch, which might have been the problem now that I think about it, I said, you know, honey, there's a more efficient way to vacuum. If you went around the room like a Zamboni at an ice rink, you wouldn't go over the same spot every time, and it was me more efficient. I have more free time. I'm trying to help you out. It's more efficient. He said, you know, Don, that is more efficient. Want to know why? Because you're going to be doing it from now on. And I do the vacuuming, and I think I do it better. I think I won that argument. But I'm not allowed to say it, so there you go. Now, my wife and I, opposites attract. It's amazing. She's intuitive and spontaneous. I'm logical and structured. And it comes with financially, it's the same way. Almost every couple, one person's a saver, one person's a spender. In our relationship, I'm the saver, and my wife is the spender, and we're both very good at what we do. So we recently got, a distant relative died and left us $6,000 out of the blue. So we each budgeted it, and I said to my wife, here's how I'd like to spend it. I'm a guy, but I want to spend. So I want to get a QLED TV, an 85-inch big TV, right? And that's $47.99, and then I want to save the rest, $1,201. That was my plan. She looked at this, and amazing to me, she goes, that's all you're going to save? And I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, I got a much better plan than that. I got excited. I'm like, we're going to save more? Tell me more. She goes, well, first of all, forget about your TV for now. What we really need is a new couch, a new coffee table, and a new rug, because the other ones are almost 5 years old. They're out of style. I'm like, ah! She goes, I can get the couch for $2,900, I get the coffee table for $9,900, and the rug for $19.99. And I quickly added it in my head, and I said, well, that's $59.97. I added it in my head, and that's only $3 in savings. She goes, what are you talking about? It's way more savings than that. I said, how do you figure? She goes, well, first of all, that's the sale price. The actual price of the couch was $44.99. I saved $1,500. The coffee table, that was $16.99. I saved another $700 there. The rug I got for, look at $2,000 off of the rug for a total savings of $4,200. Wait, she went on. I'm now going to take that $4,200 that I just saved, buy that television, which I found on sale, saving another $800 for a total savings of $5,000. I'm like, honey, you are so hot right now. How did you do that? One thing she's upset with me is I won't go shopping with her anymore. I can't. I'm older. I can't keep up. I get cramps. I get weak. And she goes, well, you just don't want to hang out with me. I said, no, I don't shop like you. She goes, what are you talking about? I go, when I shop, I don't shop the same way. She goes, well, how do you shop? I said, I'll show you. I got a GPS tracking device. Here's how I shop. And then I tracked her. So I need a pair of pants. Here's how I shop. Here's how Don shops. I walk in the mall, take a left, take a right, buy some pants, take a left, take a right, and go home. That takes me 6 minutes and costs me $33. I am done shopping for 2020. I got my cargo pants. I'm ready to go. Same thing. Laura needs to go shopping. She needs a pair of pants. Here's how Laura does it. She walks in the mall. There she is right there. 3 hours, 26 minutes, $876. So my wife saw me do this bit. She goes, you're not asking yourself the right question, mister. Ask yourself who's the more efficient shopper, Mr. Smarty Cargo Pants. Let's do the analysis. You, Don, you spent $33 in 6 minutes. That's a cost per minute of $5.50 per minute. I, Laura, spent $876 in 206 minutes. That's $425. I kicked your butt. I love it when you talk nerdy to me, honey. Talk nerdy to me. And then finally, there's a lot of keys to a happy marriage. This, I believe, is one of the many keys. But if you can get this to happen, it's really going to be good. Two things need to line up. Your spouse's looks here and your vision over there need to decay at exactly the same rate. That is a beautiful thing. Come on. Come on. It doesn't, you'll both look the same to each other your whole lives. You can always be, I can look right at my wife and say, honey, you're as beautiful as the day I met you. Oh, I'm sorry, you're over there, you're as beautiful as the day I met you.